Hey, guys! We still say we're starting here. What's going on here? Ah. Alright, hey, guys! DJ Little Wolf here to talk to you today about some more of the truth. Today's subject is going to be about the LGBT community. So, um, just a keynote for everybody to understand. I'm talking about the LGBT community from my personal perspective. I do not take any of my answers to be, live by advice. It's just what I've been through in life, what I know about it, and some rough ideas to go with. All right, so let's get started. So, to all of you who have been dying to know, a lot of you have been messaging me and asking, a lot of personal information, trying to figure out, who I am, what I am, all that. So, to start off, my name is Michael Highsmith. My stage name is DJ Little Wolf. Um, I'm 23 years old. I'm from St. Augustine, Florida, here in the United States. What? And, well, how do I fit into the LGBT community? I fit into that community because I am a bisexual male. That's right, I said it, bisexual male. Um, and I know a lot of people have been wondering, like, how do you make that work if you're married? Well, simple. Just like any other relationship, even a straight relationship. You marry someone because you love someone, you're monogamous in that relationship, and you stay true to your partner. Now, does that mean that if me and my wife ever got divorced, that I wouldn't possibly be interested in dating a guy or marrying a guy? No, not necessarily, because I do float both ways. I think both males and females are highly attractive. Um, and even some transgenders, actually. There's a lot of beautiful transgenders out there. Um, and I don't think they get nearly enough credit. So this is a personal to all transgenders out there. I love you guys. You guys are amazing. Don't let anybody tell you you should be any other way than you really are, because that's all that really matters. Um and now that we've gotten past that, look, I've always been proud of the fact that I'm a bisexual male. The way I see it, it's my life. If you don't like it, you there's the door. I'm not asking anybody to accept me for who I am. I'm not asking anybody to be a part of who I am. As far as I'm concerned, if you don't like it, go somewhere else. Um but so today I'm going to answer some questions about the LGBTQ community from my own perspective. And starting on that subject, the first question I'm going to answer today is, what should I do if I think someone is lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender, but they haven't told me? So honestly, the best thing that you can do, in my opinion, is just be open about it. Um, tell them the truth, but do it in a private manner, just in case they don't really feel comfortable with it, or you never know who's around and who's listening, so you don't ever want to put yourself into a dangerous situation by having that conversation around a group of people, because there's some people that you may not really want them to know. Um, and the best thing that you can do, honestly, is pull them aside, talk to them privately, and say, look, you know I want you to feel okay with this. I want you to know that I'm not trying to pressure you into answering. I'm not trying to um, force you to tell me. I want you to tell me of your own free will. And with that being said, you know, I'll give you a small example. So, for example, you ask them into a private conversation away from other people and just say something along the lines of, hey, I was noticing some things the other day, and it honestly just made me curious. So I wanted to ask, but I want you to know that if you are, it's okay. You don't have to feel uncomfortable about it. If I want you to know that I'm here and I support you. So if you want to tell me about it, that's okay, and if you don't, that's also okay. Um, and then you give them your question. Are you part of the LGBTQ community? And they'll either answer you or they won't. It's all in their decision. But putting them in a closed off area away from people that they don't trust, and giving them opportunity to feel more comfortable with you and with their self is the best way that you're going to get an answer on whether it's a yes or a no, or they may not even be sure, so they may not want to give you a yes or a no yet because they're still on the fence. Question number two. Question number two is, how do I make myself more approachable to people who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender? In my and honestly, this is one of those questions for me that just feels simple to answer. Um, because it's how I live my life and it works every single time. You'll have to bear with me for looking down. I have my notes here because I get brain lost all the time. But honestly, just be yourself, open your heart to who you really are, and treat the people around you equally. Treat them with peace and kindness and love, and don't be afraid to show who you are, because if you really are accepting and you really are caring and you really are kind, those people are going to come to you on their own. They will start talking to you. You'll be having a nice, friendly, normal conversation, and they'll be like, "Hey, I happen to notice, but are you lesbian or gay, or so on and so forth." And that's the best way to go into that subject, is just let it happen naturally. Show them that you're comfortable in your own skin and that they should be comfortable in their own skin, and show them that you love yourself. And that will make them, in my opinion, more open to wanting to approach you about it. So question number three is, what was it like when I came out? Um, I don't know how it is for everybody else, honestly, but I know for me, it was a terrifying experience. My mother, when I told her about it, she was perfectly okay. She was like, okay, I pretty much already knew, so you're good. Have a good day. Go do you. I was like, okay, that works for me. But my dad, on the other hand, my dad is a manly man, and I've always known that he's a manly man. Um, and I was honestly terrified at first to tell him because I was afraid of how he was going to react. I was afraid that if I, came out and said, "Hey, Dad, by the way, I'm bisexual," that there could be consequences. That I would get in trouble, or I'd be kicked out, or I'd be treated differently because of the fact that I was that way. But at the same time, I also knew my mother was on my side, so I felt like I kind of had a backing for it. Um, and for the longest time, I really did not know if I was going to be accepted for who I was. I wasn't even sure if I was really comfortable in my own skin because of who I was and because of how many people there are in the world that have such a negative opinion towards the LGBTQ community. Um, But long story short, I did actually end up coming out to my dad a long time ago and telling him, "Hey dad, by the way, I also like guys." And he was actually a lot cooler about it than I expected him to be. I thought he was going to get mad or be like, whatever, get away from me, you freak. But he actually turned out to be really calm and really accepting. Um, and he even sat me down and he gave me some great points on having that lifestyle and what was going to happen by letting people know about that lifestyle. So I definitely thank him for that. That's a shout out to you, Dad. You're awesome. And Mom, thank you for always being super supportive. I love you. You're an amazing person. Um, so on to question number four. Question number four is, if someone wants advice on what to tell their roommate, friends, or family about being lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender, how can I help? So honestly, just tell them the same thing that I'm gonna say, plus some extra stuff. So just be yourself. Don't hide yourself from the world because you're afraid of their opinions. Embrace who you are. Come out and say, "Look, this is who I am. I did not choose this life. It's the way I was born. It's who I am now. It's who I'm going to be when I die." And don't be afraid to speak up for yourself. Let people know who you are, because people in the world who are real and are true to you are not going to care what you do with your life as long as it's not going to hurt you. The people who love you and will accept you for who you are, um, and if they can't accept you, then that's fine. They don't have to accept you. You can move on from them and that situation. Move yourself into a situation with better people who will love you and treat you who you treat you accordingly because of who you are, not because of what you stand for. And that's a big thing that I hear about all the time. Is people are constantly saying, "Well, I'm afraid to tell people who I am." Don't be. I mean, yeah, there's some scenarios and some situations where you're going to have to worry because of specific people and their opinions, but I also feel like you shouldn't be afraid to just be open about it, because it comes down to a point, if they love you for who you really are, it's not going to make a difference to them. And if they don't love you for who you really are, then yeah, they're going to treat you negatively, they're going to be rude about it, and they're probably going to not want to be around you anymore. But that's not your problem. That's theirs. That's something that they need to fix, not you. Um and there's a lot of outcomes that could come from this. There's a lot of situations where coming out could be good or bad or neutral or so on and so forth. Like I have friends who have been kicked out of their houses for telling their parents. I have friends that have been abandoned, beaten, mistreated. Um, a couple of my older friends have even told me stories about some of the older days where some really crazy stuff happened in the LGBTQ community, from the heterosexual community. But personally, your workplace, community groups, and stuff like that, I don't really feel like it's something that should have to be brought up. If it's something that you really want to talk about, I recommend personally talking about it outside of work or your majority groups that you hang out with your friends. And of course, at work, you're going to have friends. At your different groups and communities, you're going to have friends that personally are going to be accepting, and others who you're maybe not sure about. So the best way to handle that, in my opinion, is to pull those people aside outside of your workplace or outside of your community group and talk about it then in a quiet, calm area where you know that you're going to be safe to say what you need to say without repercussions. And I also want to say, just a little keynote about that. For any of you out there in the LGBTQ community that may or may not have come out yet, or you're having a hard time coming out, or you're getting a lot of bad negativity from coming out, I'm here for you. If you need to talk about the LGBTQ community because of something going on in your life that is affecting you, not just physically, but mentally as well, I will personally say it is okay to message me about that stuff. If you can, just try to give me, in your in your message, let me know that that's what you're messaging me about, instead of just saying hey or how's it going, because I get so many messages, I really can't keep track of all the different people. But if you message me and you leave me, a message explaining why you're messaging me, I will read it. I will look at it and go, okay, this is why this person is trying to contact me. So I will go into a conversation with them. All the random people that just message me with the same questions over and over again generally just get overlooked because I don't have time to answer everybody's questions. And I will definitely do my best to give you my opinion on the situation, but a lot of it comes down to do what feels right in your heart. If you feel that coming out in that situation is going to be a bad idea and it's going to cause more problems, it might be the best idea to just keep it to yourself until you get into a better situation. I'm not saying forever, just to a place where you feel more comfortable sharing it. Question number 5. So, question number 5 is, what do I do if someone who is lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender wants to come out in my office or on my residence hall floor or within the context of any group that I am a part of? So, like I just said, a lot of the stuff that I just said in my previous question goes along with this question. You know, understanding the many possible outcomes and taking the proper steps to have that conversation safely. Um, but if you're the type of if you really want to know what to do if somebody of that community wants to come out in your office or your residence hall or within your other groups, if you're okay with it, let them. Accept them and embrace them. And if you personally feel that you can't do that, if you truly feel like you can't accept them for who you are or for who they are, that's fine. Don't force yourself to like somebody or to be a part of somebody's community if it's going to bother you that much, because all that's going to do is cause more problems for yourself and for them. But you can choose to be a part of bracing true love for your own heart and for theirs. Or you can walk away and live your own life your own way and do things the way that you want to do it. Um, just an example, my best friend in the whole world, the guy that I would call for anything if I needed him, is completely 100% homophobic. He does not like to talk about the LGBT community, or he doesn't want to hear about it. He's not the type of guy that's going to be like, "Oh, cool, so you're bisexual, blah 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 blah. Let's have a conversation." He's more or less like, "Dude, I love you and I respect you. You're family to me. I really don't want to hear about it. I don't want to talk about it because I'm homophobic. I don't like it." And that's perfectly normal. That's perfectly understanding as to why he is that way. Does that mean that we're not best friends? No. We have some of the greatest times doing random fun stuff. And I even have moments where I throw out a little bit of my "hey girl," and he doesn't say anything about it. He doesn't jump down my throat over it. Um But try to be as supporting as you can. That's honestly the best thing I can say about it. Is try to be as supportive as you can, even if you don't agree with their situation. Because just because they are a part of the LGBTQ community does not mean for 1 second that they're interested in you. Does not mean that because your best friend is lesbian or gay that they're going to start hitting on you like, "Oh my god, you're so hot, blah 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 blah." No, because they don't. That's not how it works. It's not a system of, "Oh, so every single person we meet that's okay with it, we're gonna try to fuck," because that's not what happens at all. And I mean, there's okay. It's not what happens in most situations. There are some other people out there in the world that I've gotten tons of messages from that just don't care about you or your personal space or anything like that, and they will send you stuff like that because they don't care. And I've made it a very loud point that if you are one of those people that thinks it's okay to just randomly send a dick pic to somebody you don't know, or to come on to somebody that you don't know without having a conversation first, is completely disrespectful. It's unacceptable, and you should not be doing it because that's rude. It makes people uncomfortable when you just straight up attack them with who you are. Take the time, learn about the person that you want to talk to or send that stuff to. And if they feel the same way you do and they want to reciprocate with stuff like that, or they want you to do stuff like that, then it's okay. But it's never okay to just randomly jump into somebody's messages or inbox or get in somebody's face and be like, "Hey, so how about we go around back and, me and you get all freaky and busy?" Cuz that's mostly going to freak anybody out, even people in the LGBTQ community, unless that's what they're looking for. And 9 times out of 10, if that's what they're looking for, they're probably going to tell you. But then again, keep in mind this whole video is just my opinion. I'm not saying that I stand for every LGBTQ community person in the world, or that I speak for every person in the world, because I can't. I'm only one person. So, question number 6. How should I respond to heterosexual friends or coworkers who feel negatively about a person who is lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender in our offense, residence hall, or community groups? Personally, in my opinion, tell them to mind their own damn business. They have no more right than you or I to talk about it. If it's not part of their life and it's not part of their daily decisions, then they need to mind their own business. They should not be spreading rumors or gossip or being rude just because somebody is different. And if you see someone doing stuff like this, a lot of times the best thing that you as a person can do is try to educate them if possible. Try to teach them about that community so they have a little bit better of an understanding um if they're willing to hear it, if they're willing to listen to it. There's some people who just don't want to hear about it. There's some people that don't want to see it because it bothers them, but at the same time it goes along with what I said before. If they mind their own business and don't worry about that person who is LGBTQ, then it's not really going to be an issue because that person's not going to make it a point to come up and bother them. Why are you bothering them? Um, question number 7. Now, this is a question that I've heard about a lot. And personally, I think it is a stupid question. I really do. But I'm going to go ahead and talk about it anyway, to be fair. So, question number 7 is, what should I say to someone who is afraid of contracting HIV or AIDS or STDs from the LGBTQ community people? Um, and personally, I would just explain to them that the LGBTQ community of are just people no different than me and you. Just because they sleep with the same sex or sleep with somebody who's transgender or so on and so forth doesn't really mean that they're going to have any more STDs or HIV or AIDS or anything like that than your average heterosexual relationship. And to make a valid point about this, I actually went online and made it a point to look up statistics about that exact situation. And statistically, there's only a marginal difference between the LGBT community and people who contract an STI or STD compared to heterosexual relationships. Generally, I feel like as long as you think about it as just as any other relationship, if you were a guy sleeping with a girl, what are you gonna do? You're gonna put on a condom. You're gonna be safe because you don't really know what that person has or has been doing. And the same thing goes for, same-sex relationships. Practice safe sex. Just because you're doing it from the back instead of the front or from whatever, um, doesn't mean that you shouldn't wear a condom or, use sexual protection if you're sleeping with somebody that you don't know their sexual life. So I would treat that just like any other relationship. And that's all that really comes down to. Um, so question number 8. How should I respond to rumors that someone is lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender? Um, quite honestly, by not spreading them. If you're feeling extra brave and somebody comes up to you and tells you a rumor about somebody in the office or somebody that you know, um, if like I said, if you're feeling extra brave, in that situation where somebody has come up and said something to you about spreading rumors, first things first, make it known that it's okay if they are. but the fact that gossip is not the way for other people to find out, and that it's not okay to spread a rumor about somebody. Because if that person really wanted the rest of the world to know what they are, they would tell you. They would come up and they would say, "Look, this is what I am." Um, and then you can deal with that situation. But going around and spreading a rumor saying, "Oh, hey, Timmy down the street or Timmy at the office in cubicle number 3 or whatever I think he's gay." It's none of your business. Quit spreading rumors because it's none of your business. It is that person's business and that person only. And if you really want to know if that person is, lesbian, gay, bisexual, or trans, or queer, or whatever, go up to that person and find a nice, quiet, private location, ask them to have a conversation, and say, "Hey, I know it's not the way to find out, but I heard a rumor. Somebody was saying that you're, possibly lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, or queer." And if they feel comfortable telling you, then they will. Otherwise, they're just going to tell you, "Look, that's not really any of your business. Go mind your business." Um, but yeah, no, rumors are not the way to find out. And if you think it's okay to spread a rumor about somebody that's possibly in that situation, you should definitely be ashamed of yourself. Because that is what makes people more uncomfortable. That is what makes people feel like, "Oh my God, now everybody's judging me because of who I am." And that's not fair to them any more than it would be fair to you if somebody was going around saying, "Oh, I heard a rumor homeboy's cheating on his wife or some crap." That's rude. Mind your business. Um, Question number 9. Wait, didn't I just say question number 9? No, okay. Question number 9. Question number 9 is, how can I get others to be more open-minded about LGBTQ community? So personally, treat them with equality and respect. Treat them just like any other person, accept accept the fact that if they want to accept it, they will. If they don't, they're not going to, and nothing that you can do is going to force them to accept it. They're only going to accept it of their own free will, of their own situations. Um but you know what? If you mention it to them and they seem like they are receptive to hearing about the LGBTQ community and are willing to learn more about it, try to educate them if you can. Try to give them some facts and some information, either from your own personal life or, situations that you've been in or seen or heard about, um and try to help them learn so that they can be more okay or accepting of the situation rather than being mean. um question number 10 is, how can I respond when someone tells a homophobic joke? Okay, so this is a very simple but complicated answer at the same time. A joke is a joke, and you can treat it as such. If your buddy down the street makes a joke about, your boy being gay or whatever, make sure that you're not pointing fingers at someone or making fun of someone through a joke, because that's rude. That's mean, it's hurtful, and yeah, it's gonna hurt their feelings whether you think it's a joke or not. It's not. It's if you're pointing it at them and saying, "Oh, I can't think of a joke. I don't make jokes about people, so we're just gonna skip me trying to make a joke." Um, but I really want to emphasize the fact that a joke is a joke as long as you make sure you're not pointing fingers at anyone in that situation. Making a joke as a part of the community or even from outside the community that's not generalized. Making a joke that's acceptable and not rude and bashful is okay. Just Don't be mean. Don't be a jerk. There's no need for it. And to be honest, I've met some LGBTQ community people, including myself, that if you purposely make it a point to make a rude joke about me or somebody who's friends with me, or if I'm out in public and I see you picking on somebody who's LGBTQ for no reason, I'm definitely going to beat your ass. I'm not going to question you about it. I'm going to jump down your throat and I'm probably going to punch your face in because that's rude. It's completely unacceptable, and I would hope that anybody else would too, because I know plenty of other LGBTQ community people that if you treat them like they're nothing more than trash, they will hurt you because it's not fair to them. That would be just like a normal person or a straight person going out in public and you coming up and going, "Hey, you're a fucking loser. I hate you. I'm going to punch you in the face." What's going to happen? You're going to get hurt. You're going to try to hurt somebody and you're probably going to get hurt. So it's probably not a good idea. Okay. Question number 11. How can I respond to homophobic and transphobic attitudes? Respectfully. You know, my best friend, like I said, is the most homophobic guy I know. Yes, he knows I'm bisexual. But he still loves me anyway for who I am. He still accepts me for who I am. Um, but also understand the fact, that you have to try to really remain calm in those situations. If someone's giving you an attitude just because you're part of the LGBTQ community, attacking them and being angry is not so much going to help. Of course, I know that kind of conflicts with what I just said about but there's a difference. If somebody's just being like, whatever, screw you because you are who you are, and they're not like physically trying to harm you, let it be. Stay calm, accept who you are, accept the fact that you're open and you don't care what other people think. And if you can, try to have a educational conversation instead of an argument. A lot of people's negative views come from a lack of understanding, um, and people that don't understand a subject or a situation, they will. They're more likely to get flustered and angry about it because they don't understand it. They don't know about it and they don't know the way that it works. And a lot of people all have the same opinion that you're just trying to hit on them and that personally bothers them, and that's understandable. But there's also um, you know, the bet so try to explain that it's not a choice, and that it's how you were born. It's not something that you just chose to do. You've been this way your whole life, As for me, people keep asking me like, "Oh, so you choose to be bisexual?" No, I don't choose to sleep with a male or a female. Um, because it was a choice. I chose to sleep with a male or a female because guess what? My little antenna decided to go ba-doop when they were in the room. And that was how I figured out, oh, I'm bisexual. I tried it. I liked it. Guess what? Bisexual. I did not choose to be bisexual. My body told me that I was bisexual. And the same goes for people that are LGBTQ. Um, lesbians, they feel the same way about it. They're either turned on by men or they're turned on by women, and that's just the way it happens. Same for gays. Um, and transgenders too. Transgenders are, I know, very confusing to a lot of people, but what it really comes down to is just because somebody was born of a different sex and they decided, you know what? I don't want to be this. I want to be how I feel inside. And if you feel like you're a woman inside and you want to change to a woman, do it. If you feel like you're a man inside and you want to change over to a man, do it. I'm not personally going to judge you. Personally, I think you guys are beautiful because you show yourself not just in, um, appearance changes, but physical changes. You bring out the person that you see in your head, the person that you feel in your heart. Um, And that's all I have to say about that. Personally, like I said, I think transgenders are amazing and beautiful in every way. Um, and for somebody like me who's bisexual, y'all usually have the best of both worlds. So I didn't say that. All right. So we're on to my final question, question number 12. How can I respond to people who object to LGBTQ community people for religious reasons? Now, I just want to say I don't speak for any religion publicly. I have what I feel inside is my religion, and that's my business. It's nobody else's. I have this beautiful symbol right here, tattooed on my arm. It means Christian anarchy. That doesn't mean that I'm Christian by any means, by the way. It just means that the symbol itself means that my relationship with God is solely between me and God, nobody else. I'm not going to go to church and sit down and pray and, sit and watch your Sunday service because I don't need to be there. God does not need me to be there. God is with us wherever we go. Our God is with us wherever we go. They're a celestial being that created everything that we walk on, that we breathe, that we drink, that we eat. Everything that you can possibly imagine came from your God. So the way I see it is you know, the way I see it in my personal opinion, and not standing with any religions on the subject publicly, if God or Mother Earth or Buddha or whatever really cared about who you loved, would they really allow those kind of people on Earth? Would us LGBTQ community people be born the way that we're born if it was not allowed by your God? Why would we have been born or created in the first place if a God decided, I don't like that. I don't even remotely agree with that decision. It should not happen. Because for them, it would be as simple as poof, all the LGBTQ community people in the world would be gone. We wouldn't exist. It never would have happened because that would